Welcome to Caring Community with your hosts Jay and Diane West. In this community, creative initiatives are welcome. A culture of transformation is normal, and miracles are expected. Welcome to Caring Community.
Hello, I'm Jay.
And I'm Diane.
And this is Caring Community. So we have our guest back, Randy Goodwin from Hollywood, Omaha, and Kelsey Grammer at his house, and all sorts of other things. Great to have you for a second show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
I appreciate it.
So we're talking about influence, your walk with God and your influence with other people in Hollywood. And you gave a Bible to Kelsey Grammer, and I don't know if you've had other influence, and you've talked about how the directors really like you.
There's a lot of stories that I could talk about, but I'll share this one with you. There's a guy named Mike. Mike is an assistant to a couple of creators of TV shows, Nat Bernstein, Mitchell Catlin. We did a show called Abby in the mid-2000s. And Mike would come down to my room, bring me a script, we'd have conversations, but we never had a God conversation yet. And one day he came in and he just goes, "Hey man, where do you go to church?" And anytime somebody asks me that, I go, "What makes you think I go to church?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Come on, man." Because first of all, there's a lot of people that have a Bible in their room. He goes, "But every time I come in your room, yours is on a different page. So I know you read it." And I went, "Oh, that's pretty perceptive." I said, "Why are you going through my stuff?"
He's the guy that should have caught the green tie with the yellow stripes, right?
Right.
Well, he's not on set.
Okay.
Mike handles everything. He's the wheel, the glue. He's back there making everything happen, making sure we're happy, all the actors. He runs a crew, basically. And then he says, when you, I notice that whenever actors are talking about what extra, because this happens, what extras they're going to try to get to whatever. He goes, and how they talk about women, he goes, you always check them, and then you usually dismiss yourself from conversations like that. And I go, "Man, you pay attention to all that?" He goes, "Everybody does. We talk about you in the office, man."
Wow.
And I go, "Wow, okay." And that became a thing because I really noticed people, or I guess I realized people noticed me doing that, and I didn't realize that. I'm just being me.
Right.
Then I started kind of filtering what I was doing because I didn't want to come off as, then I went, wait a minute, no, they're noticing it because I'm just being me.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had to pray about it, and I just had to keep doing that. That's just who I am. So
Right.
I'm not gonna stand around and listen to people degrade other people, or, it's hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, I started this with the word influence, intentionally so. Influence comes from the word influenza. Influenza means in the flu,
Right.
but influence means in the flow. And when you're in the flow of what God's doing in your life, it flows naturally. You don't have to work it up, you don't have to make it up, you don't have to try to pump it up. It just, just comes out naturally. And I'll just say one more thing. In the flow, we talk about being in God's river. You've heard that, being in the river of
Yes.
God and everything else. There's the difference between a river and a swamp is flow. There's no flow in a swamp.
Right.
And in a swamp, all the animals devour each other, okay? And it's just interesting because I think that's the way we're supposed to live. And you're living that. You're living in the flow, and you're not allowing everything around you to dam up the water, and so it becomes a swamp, even though it could be, because the environment is somewhat hostile to the kingdom of God, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that.
You steal one more thing. Take it in an airplane. Years ago, JetBlue took off from Miami, and it crashed in the Everglades. Nothing was found, okay? But then there's another plane that landed on the Hudson River, all right, and a movie was made about it,
Right.
and it floated, okay?
Right.
Okay, so river, there's life in the river. There's not much life in the swamp. So, yeah. Sorry to interrupt, give you a little sermon illustration, but
No,
but it's reality because we're all in environments. You know, she's been in Christian schools as a teacher. Well, not all Christian schools are, quote, Christian schools.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. Some of them have acted like a public school, you know, without much godly influence at all.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes pastors yelling at people and swearing and cussing. I was at a church where a pastor cussed all the time, you know? So it's like, that doesn't sound like fun at all, you know?
Right, yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, if you're acting like the world, how are you going to draw them?
and the show's called Caring Community. How are you going to care? If you're just doing your own thing, like you said to Kelsey Grammer, well, I didn't want to draw attention to me. It wasn't about me. And that, because of that, he liked that, and you forged a relationship. Think about all the, as you shared that in the last show, all these people, every time he came on set, the movie stops, people run to him, he's the executive producer, all these people are flooding around him. Why? Because they all want what you ended up getting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I got flack for hanging out with Kelsey.
Right.
Did
From
ya?
other actors in Hollywood would.
Will you just? Yeah.
You must be kissing up to him to get whatever,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
not the way it went down.
No, not even close.
Not even close. You did the opposite. You walked away to the point he thought you were offended to him.
Yeah, yeah. A similar story is I became friends with Sidney Poitier because the show Abby starred his daughter.
Oh.
So it was Sidney is her name, Sidney Poitier,
Oh.
myself, and Kadeem Hardison. We were the three leads of this show. And after we shot the pilot for that, and the show did get picked up, we're on the sound stage. And you know, the big sound stages, you have all the bleachers for the live audience and all. So afterwards, they're all down and we're greeting people and signing scripts and taking pictures. All of a sudden, everyone stops talking that's in my group. My manager Adam's here, my buddy Ponch, and then some others who I'm just signing stuff for. And everyone gets quiet. And I'm still laughing and joking. Then I go, why's everybody so quiet? And you hear the door of the soundstage close, clunk, clunk. And you hear this deep voice say, you. And I turn around and it's Sidney Poitier. And he's pointing at me.
Oh, wow.
And he's walking toward me. He goes, you. Sorry, Sidney, if you ever watch this, I'm telling the story. He walks up and he grabs my hand, he pulls me in, he goes, and he whispers in my ear, you are good.
Oh.
You are so good. And I go, you're good. And he goes, no, you. And I go, no, you. Now we're going back and forth.
Right.
And we're laughing. And he grabs me and he says, you are just you. And I guess I made him say it in front of everyone. I said, everyone quiet down, please. Sidney has something to say. And he just starts laughing and we joke. Every week he would show up. And one night he came out again and he goes, Randy, I want to tell you, I come to support my daughter, but I come to watch you.
Interesting.
Because you
That
can do, and
is.
he had other things to say. We won't get into that. But they're pretty awesome. And then a young lady was behind on a night he came out. He had run 12 miles. I think he was 72 at the time. He ran 12 miles that day.
Oh,
so he wasn't
goodness.
feeling well. He's sitting in the green room with my wife and my young kids. And my wife comes out and says, Sidney's not feeling well. I go, oh no, what happened? She told me. And then I see Sidney behind one of the sets, kind of peeking out. And young lady noticed him. Oh my God, it's Sidney Poitier. He just goes, he sucked it up and he walked out as Sidney.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? And he goes, of course, he does the Sidney thing. And she turns to me and says, will you take a picture of us? So I take her camera and I turn it toward me and I take a picture of myself and I go, get out of here. Can't you see he's not feeling well? And I go, Sidney, you don't have to do this. Not tonight, you don't feel well. Oh, I didn't know he wasn't feeling well. I go, look at him. And Sidney starts laughing. And once they get away, he puts his arm around me and he goes, you're crazy. And we just laugh, and that's how our relationship was. But I guarantee you, it was because I don't treat him like everybody else did. Everyone else is like, oh my, Mr. Poitier, how are you? I don't treat him like glass.
Yeah.
I treat him like a real person,
Yes.
but he's been treated like Sidney Poitier
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you just want to be a normal dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's why
probably
I get
really
along with people. I'm just
appreciate
a
it.
Nebraska. I'm a Nebraska boy. Got my boots, wear my T-shirts. I mean,
You're like
realistically,
a Texas boy with the boots.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
don't. We spent 15 years in Texas. I know it's the first thing I noticed when you got out of the car. I said, "Oh, he's got boots on. I should have worn mine."
Cool.
So yeah, cool. So
yeah, you know, it's just this. It's my mentality. I love home. I love coming back. My mom gave me a new mug, coffee mug that said "O" on it. And she goes, "Because you love Omaha Hall so much, I want to give you this cup." And I go, "I love home. You know, no place is without its problems, but I love Nebraska. You know, and I want to build the film industry here." So.
yeah, and you mentioned that. I want to talk a little bit. We met the other day, and you were in town because the Christian Film Festival in Orlando could not meet due to the COVID-19, and so they were doing it virtually, and you were here watching it and some of that. Talk a little bit about your influence in that realm, and the movie you're making or made, and the trailer, and we'll show the trailer in just a minute or two. So.
Well, I honestly don't feel I have any influence in that area yet again. I really don't. People always correct me, and some people in the industry get upset with me because they're like, "Dude, your name, people know you, and people know your face, and in this realm, you have some pull." And I go, "I don't think I do, but I guess I do in some form." So. With this particular film, or the festival is the International Christian Film Festival, which is one of the biggest in the world, Christian or secular. And everyone goes to that. When the Kendrick brothers, Sony, Fox, all the distributors come down. Big names go to this, and I was really looking forward to it.
Why do they go to that? What's the
To
draw?
the festivals?
Yeah, why do they go? Are they looking for new talent?
Depending on the festival. This one is well known. Just like Sundance and Cannes and Toronto, which I've been to, and the Omaha Film Festival in its 15th year. People don't even realize that there's a film festival here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
Blew my mind.
There's actually been a lot of films done here.
Yes,
A lot of movies have been done here.
Well,
Or
there's been a lot of
partially done
films
here.
shot here.
Yeah.
But the difference in filmmaking, and I know some people are going to be upset about this, but it's the truth, and that's why I come back. If you're a pro at filmmaking here, Hollywood is still right here. That's the difference.
Right. Well, I
That's
get
the
that.
difference in
I
talent.
get that.
Sure.
That's the difference.
But I
in,
meant even Hollywood movies that have Omaha in it. So.
yeah. Well,
Or
those
portions
that
of Omaha.
and those that are like Alexander Payne's films, who also went to Creighton Prep many years before me. He shoots here, but that's it. It doesn't do anything for Nebraska.
Right.
You know, they may stay at some hotels or use some restaurants, so there's a little bit of money there, but then it goes right back to LA, and they do all the post-production and everything else there. So a few years ago, let me give you some quick numbers, and then we'll get back to my film. The world enjoyed approximately $83 billion from film alone. The US, about $38 billion of that. You have states like Georgia and Louisiana, New Mexico, Canada, Toronto. They made a few billion, 2, 3 here and there. There were 22 films shot in Nebraska that year. You know how much Nebraska made?
Wow.
0. Goose egg. Why? Because they were just films that people shot. They didn't get distribution.
Right.
They didn't end up on Netflix. They ended up at a film festival, because in most film festivals you can get a film in there if it's good enough, because it's a place to get your film shown. Try to get known, try to garner an audience.
Well, sometimes we lived in Texas for a while, and it just popped in my head. There was a movie called The Sugarland Express, and we lived in Sugarland, Texas for a while.
Okay.
So, and it picked up the name, and it really wasn't about Sugarland, but you know, sometimes a movie will just pick up the name of a particular place too.
Yes,
So.
yeah. Yeah.
Like NCIS New Orleans, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you see stuff and you assume they put the culture into the film and everything else, but I don't know how much they actually.
They actually do a little bit to that, but like when I shot CSI Miami, we shot in Long Beach,
Right.
Did you?
Right.
because Long
Okay.
Beach has palm trees
Sure.
and the channels with the
Well, I
boats.
even read at NCIS.
Okay.
Most of NCIS is not filmed in Virginia.
Huh?
You know, it's filmed in L.A.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
saw the NCIS in D.C. last year. We stayed in a hotel right down the street from the NCIS. That's right there in Virginia. But that doesn't even look remotely like it does on the show. So.
I was on NCIS and I didn't realize that it was supposed to be in Virginia.
Yeah, it's Virginia right outside D.C.,
what
the
an
NCIS
idiot.
office there. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, well.
You learn something new.
Yeah, you do.
So tell us about this. Tell us about. We're going to show this trailer in just a moment.
Okay.
Or this, video clip, and tell us what we're going to see and what the movie's about, and then we'll show it.
Well, the movie is about a boxer who kills a guy in the ring, and it ruins his life because he meant to kill the guy.
Oh, wow.
I thought you meant to ruin the boxer's life. If he got killed, it ruined his life too. So.
Yeah, it's back in 1982, there was a real boxer named Boom Boom Mancini who killed Dooku Kim in the ring. Didn't mean to, and it destroyed his life. He couldn't box again. I remember a match after that because I was a kid, and I remember he was trying to fight, but he couldn't even hit the other guy anymore because he didn't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
Ruined his life. So I've always had this thing in my head about a boxer who killed a guy in the ring. So when this particular project came up, this was 2012, I had prayed because I turned down a lot of stuff in Hollywood. I turned down movie after movie, show after show, and I get flack for that.
Yeah.
But I had turned down a project. My manager called me up and said, we did some legwork and found out that officially you have turned down more work in Hollywood than any other actor.
Wow.
And I went, is that a good thing? He goes, well, you're still in the top 1% of working actors, so your plan's working. Because it's my plan.
Yeah.
Yes, a manager guides your career, but some people let them totally
Have you
guide
been
their
on
careers.
shows that have won awards? I know it's a different subject, but
Yes.
have you won an award, or Academy Award, or Tony Award, any of these awards?
No.
People's Choice Awards?
I personally have not, because I have not been willing to take off my clothes, kiss a guy,
Yeah.
and do all the stuff that they
Yeah.
want you to do to force you to get an award. I'm not putting on a dress. There's a lot of stuff I'm not doing.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
Hey, if you want to do it, you go ahead and do that. I'm not going to condemn you for it. I'm not going to judge you for it. If you want to do those things in Hollywood, great. But I don't. I don't feel I need to,
Right.
nor do I want to. So I'm doing what I want to do in Hollywood.
Right. So you want to do this? So more about the boxer. Sorry.
So-
I segued us off. Bring us back.
Yeah, so this is the answer. When he told me that I had turned down more work than anyone, and like a Will Smith, who I've known for years, and a few others who have movie after movie stacked up for the next 5 years, they have to turn work down.
Right.
I was turning it down when I could have used the money. I was turning it down when, I had nothing because I'm not doing it. So in 2012, I started praying, Lord, why? I'm turning down everything. I'm staying true to my morals, my values, and to you, and everyone knows it. And I'm getting a lot of flack for it. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do in the business if I'm going to keep doing this? I'm turning down the stuff that's turning into, there's a show called Law and Order, SVU. I didn't turn it down because there was anything wrong with it. I was under contract, but this is just to give you an idea. The role that I turned down is still on TV after 12 years. I'm sorry, 19 years. And the guy who replaced me when I turned it down is now making $450,000 an episode,
Wow.
which translates to roughly $19 million a year.
Wow.
Doesn't bother me because I know why I had to turn it down and I know where I am. But with all that, I kept saying, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? And a week later, I'm at the gym. This guy walks up with a script, sets it down by my treadmill, which has happened before. Says, I love your work. You don't have to read it. It's a faith-based script. And I went,
Okay.
wow, the first faith-based script that came to me. I read it, it wasn't that good. I declined. Another week later, I think it was a week, someone walks up to me and says, man, I'm a big fan of your work. It's a faith-based movie, and I would love for you to get your take on it. I read it, it wasn't very good. But all of a sudden, this faith stuff starts coming at me, which I've tried to get into for years. But the Kendrick brothers, the Irwin brothers, none of them have ever gotten back to me. in 15 years. I've reached out to every Christian production company. No one got back to me. Then I realized what God was trying to tell me was, I don't want you to work for them. I want you to build something, because my stuff is grittier. So
our time is getting low. We got to get to the.
Okay.
We're going to show the trailer, and that's a minute and a half.
So because of that, another guy came to me with a script that another friend knew, and he wrote it for me, and it was a play, and it was about this boxer who killed a guy in the ring. That intrigued me.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good. My manager said, ask him if you can rewrite it. I like the idea of the boxer. So I did. I rewrote it, turned it into a 110-page screenplay, we got a little bit of money together, and I got some other actors, and boom, we shot 110 pages in 6 days, and then I worked on post-production by myself for 3 years.
Wow.
And now the movie is running in theaters.
So let's watch that video clip right now.
Okay.
And then we'll conclude. So we're going to show that clip right now.
When I first met you, you were this light heavyweight champion of the world.
It was a long time ago.
You are not here. You always like the attention.
Lance the Dance Foster.
Never been a moment.
Right. You know, I really loved your title, Dance Against, we don't,
Though you have been broken,
I'm just a guy.
Stolen. I hear your SOS, your SOS.
What are you doing in my house?
I'm robbing you.
Man, did you pick the wrong house?
You gonna give me a beat down? Champ.
What do you want?
Ain't it obvious?
It's never obvious. After that last fight, I lost myself. All the money, all the fame, didn't help me one bit. I needed something. That something was God. The fight continues. Mine's just not in the ring anymore.
He ain't gonna save me. And if you don't give me something, he definitely ain't gonna save you neither.
It's not over till it's over. He'll work it out.
Oh, I will rescue you.
So we just watched the clip. People at home are watching it, enjoying it. What do you want them to take away from this film? Because we saw a minute and a half. That's not the whole movie, obviously. What do you want to take away in our concluding minutes here?
Well,
and what do you want them to learn and grow from?
I made a film that anything that I do that I have control over, I want people to laugh, cry, get angry, get inspired, and walk out of the theater talking about it. And that's what
I did when I traveled. I told people all the time. People would say, how are you successful? Because it was all word of mouth. I'd say, if I can make them laugh or cry and definitely remember the message, inspire them, challenge them, change their life. That's what I want. I don't want just another message in church. It's boring.
Yeah, so people have been coming out of the film at the Omaha Film Festival. It was so they had to put chairs in the back. And then I had a private screening of it in October at the Westwood Theaters out on 120th and Center, I believe it is, 125th and Center. And it was packed. We had to turn people away. But people came out of it, and the comments that they sent me on Facebook and videos, wow, I'm blown away that it's affecting such a wide-ranged audience, because kids from 9 years old to 80 have come to see this film, and the responses are the same. They love it. They love it. People have actually come out and given their lives to Christ because of it.
Wow.
Students come out crying, teenagers. My older brother, he came out. He's like, man, you got me 3 times. It tackles a lot of issues. So my stuff's not fluff. I like it to be a little grittier, and I think that's what God wanted me to do, was to build something for people who feel most of the faith-based stuff is kind of cheesy or a little soft, or it's specifically for the Christian audience.
Right.
I'm trying to draw people in to become the Christian audience.
Right. You're trying to, that guy who walked in your room said, what church do you go to?
Right.
You said, how do you know it? He said, well, your Bible's always in a different place every time I come in here. He's observing you. We often say you're the only Bible some people will know. You are the real thing, the real deal. You're walking the talk and talking the walk to people, and they're seeing it. And even in your turning down, what they say, you turn down more than any other regular actor, and yet you're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that says a lot.
That says a lot.
Well, he's got me there for a reason, and I'm just going to keep on hammering away until he shows me exactly what it is. And I know once that door opens, that's going to be how
I think
it's a
you
big
just
mistake.
You're
for
a
me, just
missionary.
meeting you,
Yes,
you know,
I believe
my
that.
friend Charles, who's going to be on the next show, and he said, let's go to lunch somewhere. And I said, do you want Friday or Monday? He picked Friday, and then I said, where do you want to go? And he said, we'll pick any place that has food. So I picked Classic Rock Coffee because I knew he'd be coming from North Omaha, and I liked the place. And then we met you, and maybe it was just for this show, but maybe it's for something else. But
No, but I remember you were talking about you saw my car.
oh yeah, I
Yes.
just see your car, right? Your license plate, because I'm from California.
Right.
I don't see a California license plate in Omaha very often. So
And then, and I'm also a Sunday school teacher at Saddleback, and he
Oh,
saw my
yeah.
Saddleback,
I saw a Saddleback plate thing.
license
Yeah.
frame. And
Oh,
So
very
thanks
cool.
for coming on Caring Community.
Of course.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. It was awesome.
Thank
Hope you'll
you.
do it again. Hope we'll see you again. So
Absolutely.
Shake your hand.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
God bless.
You know, you're a Sunday school teacher. What ages do you teach?
I teach, well, we start from 6th grade up
Okay.
to
All right.
freshman year in
6 years.
college.
Okay.
And then we split up
Okay.
into small
All
groups.
right,
So.
good. Well, good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in to Caring Community Day. It was a blessing to have you. Randy Goodwin, amazing man of God in Hollywood. Look for his next film, his next show. You're going to be blessed by it.
Amen.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Bye.